We're going to talk about home cinema. What is home cinema these days? And there's a few of us moving home, and quite a few people on the forums in the same kind of position, and trying to decide which way we're going to go with things because we have a number of options. And Jules, you work
Mhm,
professionally in this field in terms of
mhm,
custom installation and cinema design and all that kind
mhm.
of thing. And there's plenty of listeners out there that are probably in the same fields who are full of advice. But again, I'm sitting in what was used to be a dedicated room, and this room used to be painted black. Um, as you can see, the use has changed a little bit. It's now an office, and I need to film in here and so on. And the last thing I need is a black hole because I would need loads of light just to light things because it would just suck the light out of it. So I've left one wall black, which is the screen wall. But everything else is now a Dulux. I'm trying to. It's Thunder Clouds, I think it's called. So it's a neutral grey. Won't have any effect on picture quality from a projection system. When you switch the lights off, it gets nice and dark. There's no reflections of light and so on. So again, that's a solution that I've come up with in terms of what I need to use the room for. And a lot more people nowadays are heading towards what we describe as a media room
Mm.
rather than a dedicated home cinema. So, as somebody that's working in the field, is that something that you're finding out there?
Yeah, it's very popular now. I've been involved with installations and provide calibration services to a lot of integrators. And a lot of the work they're doing are media rooms, some sort of hybrid between that dedicated black, dedicated theatre and the living room experience. I suppose a lot of it depends upon, do you have a spare room? If you don't, then it's probably going to be the living room, and then you might be looking towards, especially to keep other members of the family happy, more of a media room situation. So you might end up with a large TV, or a projection screen, maybe an ultra short throw one, because sometimes in a living rooms, other family members don't want a big projector hanging from the ceiling. So all of these aesthetics need to be considered as well.
Yeah, and it's deciding what you want moving forward because we are now in the age where you can go out and buy a 98-inch TV for not a lot of money these days. Certainly in terms of what they used to be priced at. I mean, I remember Panasonic having a 150-inch plasma, but the people who could afford them had yachts to put them in. We're now getting to the point where for about 5-6 grand you can pick up some serious real estate when it comes to direct view TVs rather than a reflected image from a projector, Jules. So there's a lot more choice out there, which I guess makes it more and more difficult for people to decide exactly what it is that they're going to install.
Yeah, but that's certainly true. But I think also, it's great because there's going to be a solution for you, whatever your
Hmm.
situation is going
Yeah.
to be. We've got more options nowadays. So you've got the UST projectors, you've got your long throw projectors, you have your flat panels as well. So all of these can be a solution for somebody.
Yeah. So, Doug, you're moving house. What's your intentions? What is it that you're looking for in the new property?
Well, I very deliberately bought a property that had a spare room, a garage. It's a double garage, so it's an unusually large double garage actually. I think it's something like 7 meters by 6.3 meters or something like that. So it's a good
Right. It's
space.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly.
Mm.
But it's slightly oddly shaped. So by the time, and it's also a very quiet sort of rural area. So by the time you put soundproofing in there, such that I'm not disturbing my neighbours, actually that really reduces the room real estate. Um, so that's one of the things I'm having to work out is quite how much time, money I spend on soundproofing.
Mhm.
And you can get, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, but it really does need to be done. Otherwise, I won't be able to listen at sufficiently loud volumes in the sticks. And then there's things like planning what room correction you are going to be using and where you're going to locate subwoofers. I mean, that all goes to planning your room shape, right? Because if you've got subwoofers at the front and subwoofers at the back, and you want to hide them behind acoustically transparent material, okay, well then that's a lot of room real estate you've just lost to subwoofers. And I'm running a Trinnov, so Trinnov had just announced and demonstrated at ISE their new technology, which requires an array of subwoofers at the front and at the back. So I'm having to try and work out, well, do I want to make use of that, and where do I want to position the subwoofers? And that's before you even start to get to things like, what screen material do I want to go with? Do I want a scope screen? Do I want an IMAX screen? What decor do I want in the room? Do I want it to be so dark that the projected image is, maximized, but my family's enjoyment of the room is sort of minimized because it's a black hole when they walk in? Or do I want to compromise on that slightly to make the room, a bit more pleasant a place to be in? So these are the sort of the things I've been wrestling with. I mean, ultimately, I land on the black hole, and my family will suffer for it, but
they'll love you for it.
It's inevitable, really.
At least you're honest. You're honest. Well, it's interesting that both of us seem to be on the same kind of journey and going in slightly different directions as well, because certainly the intention from my point of view is the house hasn't been built yet that we're interested in, and it may fall through and we might not go down that route, but certainly I've started planning at the minute as to what I'm going to use. So it's a single garage, and it's only going to be 8 feet wide by about 16 feet long. So in terms of cinema room, it's not going to be huge. But then again, it has to be my workspace as well for what I do for AVForums and so on. So there has to be some compromise there. But again, it's a new build. It's fully detached. And I'm
genuine
also
question.
Yeah,
Phil,
go on.
If it's a new build and you're going to do that, are you actually able to say, please don't fit a garage door?
Yes.
That I'm going to
Well,
immediately remove.
there are covenants in place where you need to the door needs to remain, but you can do whatever you like behind the door. And certainly because it's a new build, we can certainly talk to the contractor and get them to board out and insulate it as a normal room at an extra cost, but we can do that. And we can tell them where we want electrical points and all that kind of thing. So you have your flexibility with it being a new build, but like I say, it's not a huge space. So my intention is that that's going to be my workspace stroke media room, and I will have an office that's in the small bedroom upstairs for my everyday admin and that kind of thing. That's the solution that I've had to come to, because at the end of the day, it's a workspace as well for me. It's not just a cinema room, and it's somewhere but again, there's the whole house solution which I'm looking at as well. So I have an iPad Pro. What can I do with that and some other bits of kit, and maybe hide some drivers and ceilings in the kitchen and so on, and have multi-room audio and
turntable in every room.
And
it's just backwards to
my
go
intention, Ed, is in one of the rooms, maybe the dining room or the living room, I shall have a hi-fi.
Yes.
With a turntable, a Technics turntable. If I can get a Mark II, I'll get a Mark II. That's the intention. Some nice speakers, stereo speakers, whatever. But because we're starting from scratch, and again, this is why I wanted to bring this conversation in, because I think lots of people are in similar situations where, where you're moving to or where you live and so on, you have certain restrictions, but what can you do within those restrictions? And what can you do if you're doing what I'm doing, moving into a new build, or what Doug's doing, moving into a double garage space? What are the solutions? What can we be looking at? And if you're a company out there that specializes in this kind of thing, multi-room and all that kind of thing, we want to hear from you. We want to hear what we should be looking at and so on, because it's certainly new ground for me. I've always gone for dedicated room and a projector and a screen and a source device. I haven't looked at multi-room in any way whatsoever. So that's all new to me. I know you can do some fantastic stuff, and it's certainly things that hopefully will take you on the journey. Doug will take you on the journey with what he's doing. Martin's moving into a new space as we speak, and his plans are really quite ambitious for what he's doing. He's going to build a rig within the house that he can move around and move out with him without damaging the rented premises that he's in. I'm going for the new build route. So, we've got a few different things to talk about when it comes to that kind of thing. And of course, AV Forums being AV Forums, we have forums dedicated to it as well, which I'm going to have to start reading and doing my research, which came in really handy because the wall colour that I'm now using, this Dulux, I picked that up from the forum members. They'd done the hard work. They'd gone out and researched what colours were best and cutting down on reflection, keeping it neutral for picture quality and projection quality. So I used their knowledge. They'd done all the legwork, and that's out there. It's on the forums. So if you're in this position, tell us what you're doing. Tell us what you want to do with your space and how you're going about it. If you're out there and you've got any suggestions for us in terms of kit that we need to be looking at, or solutions either for what Doug's doing or what I'm doing with the new build or what Martin's doing, get in touch. Let us know, and we'll all go on this journey and find out what works for everybody. So, any other tips before we get going, Jules, on what we should be looking out for? What's the thing that normally trips people up?
Any other tips? Well, I think that you'll have an idea from the size of the room what you can be able to put into there. Long throw projectors may not be workable in certain small rooms. I don't know. What was your room size in meters?
Oh, I don't know. It's 8 foot. I work in I'm old fashioned. Me, it's 8 foot by 16 foot.
But if you want to achieve a screen size of something like 120 inches plus, you're going to need a decent throw distance, 5+ meters to achieve that on your projector. So if your room's smaller, you may not be able to achieve that at all. You'll have to go for something else like the large TV. I guess for me, I just love that dedicated black room, and I don't want speakers on display. Maybe that sounds like heresy to some of you guys, because
No, I think it's, for me,
baffle wall.
A baffle wall is the way to go. If you have the space to do it, nothing beats hiding the speakers away. I know Ed's not going to understand this one. Think, well, I want to look at these beautiful speakers, but it does something to your mind, to your hearing, or whatever. If you can't see the sound source, it makes a huge difference. Massive difference. And if you can get away with a acoustically transparent screen like I have behind me, but I don't have the room, I'd lose the throw if I brought that screen forward to get the speakers behind. So these are the compromises that you need to make. I know that I can probably get a 106-inch diagonal 16:9 screen in the space that I'm looking to move into. I'm fine with that. I've had the big screen in the big room and all the rest of it. And sometimes you just you adjust your needs to where you need to be and what you want.
And you
to
can
do.
also adjust your seating position.
Yes,
if the screen looks too small, sit close to the screen. It's suddenly bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is certainly a deep dive that we're going to go into. If it's interesting to you, if you want to find out a bit more, or if you're on the same kind of journey and you're looking for solutions and so on, then certainly this year we're going to be going through exactly what's what, and we'll see where we end up at the end of it. Dougie, up for doing some video and
100%.
Doing some diaries and.
I mean, I'm a way off. I need to. I'm going to have to pick Ed's brain. Actually, I need to replace the garage roof. It's asbestos at the moment, so I don't think I'll leave that up there.
There you go. So we'll certainly do that, Johnny. I'll certainly be making some videos and progress stuff and talking you through some of the solutions I've come up with. Doug will do the same, and I'm sure Martin will do the same, and we'll get Jules's input. And if you're out there in the industry and you can give us a hand with any of this, point us in the right direction, maybe mention some solutions that we don't know about yet. Let us know about it, and we'll certainly get it out there to the wider AV Forums audience. And of course, the Home Cinema Buying and Building Forums, go check them out. It's full of useful people with some fantastic advice out there. So go and check those forums out as well.